Gabriela Delia. Welcome to this channel. Today I am talking about my relationship with ceramics. I'm currently in a ceramic studio. It is the studio that I get to use. My dear friend lets me come in and use her studio throughout the week. I'm very grateful for this relationship I have with her and for the inspiration that is her own work, which is behind me. I always loved rocks and mud. When I was 5 or 6 years old, I would find the mud in the under the aspen trees at recess outside, and my friend Abby and I would rub mud on each other's faces, and there was something that we both really enjoyed about that. One of my fondest childhood memories. And I always played with clay. I was always creative and loved textures and Play-Doh. I was really into Play-Doh. I mean, who isn't? All the colors and forms. And then I didn't think much of it until I was in high school in Utah. And my really amazing high school had the opportunity to use the Kimball Art Center in Park City. So we were able to have classes in high school like welding, ceramics, photography with a darkroom studio, painting, and that was an incredible opportunity to have. So first year of high school, I chose ceramics because I wanted to know more about it. It seemed like a fun craft to me. I took ceramics in 9th grade. I had a blast. It just felt normal. It felt natural to me. Again, I didn't really think much of it, but I made some really fun, wacky things. I remember making this giant cupcake, and you know, our teacher was very disciplined, which I appreciated. Well, I appreciate more now, I think. But you know, he really had us go through technique and make cylinders, make then summer tea bowls, which were more open because they didn't need to keep the tea as hot for longer periods of time, and then winter tea bowls, which were more closed and you know, kept the tea hotter for longer, and larger plates and you know, things on the wheel. We were mostly working with a wheel, 2 different types of clay. It was fun. I also remember him getting mad at the other students in my class because they were trying to make bongs, and he caught on pretty quickly. But then I took ceramics again a 2nd year as a 10th grader in high school, and mostly I got to do a lot of whatever I wanted because he had trusted me. He had taught me the first round, so I just made a lot of little decorative vases and bowls, plates. Nothing really, maybe 1 or 2 things that were more less usable and more sculptural. And then I finished high school with a variety of different art classes and internships. I've always been very drawn to creativity. And then I went to college and really focused more on music as a main creative channel. Well, also arts to the degree. I thought I was going to be a digital design double major for some time. That didn't work out, but I'm very happy I took a few art classes in college. Those were really fun. And those skills have stuck with me as opposed to other types of classes I might have taken in college. So then I graduated college and went back home to Utah for a couple of years, and I don't know why, but one of the things that sounded the most fun to me was to take up a ceramics membership again at that same studio that I went to in high school. They had changed locations, but I worked another year just having fun in the ceramics studio there. Just kind of no goals, more so playing around. maybe it was like a year or two of that, and that was fun. And probably didn't touch ceramics. Well, yeah, I don't think I did. Didn't really touch much clay, maybe until about 5 years later, 6 years later, when I walked into this studio and I was just visiting my friend here at the time, and we were picking up some of her work actually, and I was just visiting New York State at the time. I fell in love with her art and her style immediately, and she's a very likable person as well. So we hit it off, and within a couple of months, I was coming into this studio to just use her free studio space as just expression, creativity, again, not many goals, and just some time out of my month to play around with my hands. And so I've been in and out of her studio here, I think, for a couple of years now. You know, taking months off, taking big hiatuses, and then, you know, coming in once or twice a week for maybe weeks or months at a time. And just in the past few months, I've really been wanting to commit further to my ceramics practice. I've really felt hungry for an artistic practice that uses my hands, that works with color, shape, texture, process. So ceramics has been there with me for a while, and it took over a decade and a half of working with ceramics for me to realize, okay, I would actually like to commit to you, instead of simply just playing around. You know, I've made a lot of gifts for people, but I am kind of mustering up the juices and the mycelium to eventually draw up enough nutrients and tie some kind of knots together into a fruiting of ceramics, of a mushroom, of offerings to the world, of things that I have created, and I would like to sell them. I would like to see what can happen by really diving into this practice in a more committed way. And it hasn't really been the easiest start either, because it's almost like the things that I have been living with and working on and committed to, as I transfer my commitments and sort of change, you know, there's a natural momentum that those things have, and there's a natural momentum that has to build with the ceramics as a practice. And so, you know, I thought it would be so easy to come in here for 2 or 3 days out of the week, and for the past 6 months, I think I came twice in 1 week, just once, and it's been a small baby steps, because I got my own stamp. I spent some time designing my own stamp so that I could have a nice sort of signature on the back, and that meant a lot to me. That was really an internal discussion about what this practice means to me, and kind of what in my being is drawn to the surface when I do this practice of clay work and ceramic making. So that was a couple of months, and now I've had a couple of stints of coming in about once a week, for a few months, for a month or two.
It gives me new things
and
to try out as well.
Yeah, so I'm kind of here. I've come once a week for the past 4 weeks, and I'm about to leave for a couple of weeks and go visit Oregon. But I've had a good 4-week, once a day rhythm, and it's all just really interesting, picking up so many different, so much information. And I think today also what struck me is it was just so meditative, because I was back with making clay. I've been doing a lot of glazing for the past 3 weeks, which is a different art form, and one that I really appreciate. But it's taken a lot of time, especially with the design that I am beginning with. And today was my first day back with my hands with the clay for 2 or 3 months. And I'm using new clay. This is my first day ever trying porcelain. And I had some nerves built up around it because it's known to be a finicky, maybe a delicate clay. And I'm just diving in. I'm trying it out and approaching it with curiosity, with exchange. I noticed that I really like to use my fingers to smooth out and to work with the clay more than many other tools, particular to this porcelain clay.
Right.
So I'm just enjoying not having to think very much about more mental thoughts and really being able to drop into my body. And you know, my practice with my first thing that I did with the porcelain clay was to make a pinch pot, which was my friend's idea, who's kind of guiding me in this realm of ceramics. And I said, that's a great idea, working with my fingers really intentionally. So I made 3 pinch pots, and throughout that process, I was really not looking at the pot very much either. I was just feeling as I was going, and that was very enjoyable. So I'm just feeling happy and inspired, grateful that I have found this practice and that I have a space, a friend who's open and receptive of my germinating passion and allowing me to be here in her studio space and guide me throughout some of the ropes. So I'm gonna go back to finishing my last piece in the studio today. My first larger piece working with porcelain clay. We'll see how that goes. I'm open to anything, but I do have hopes and dreams and wishes. So I hope you'll follow along in my experience of learning about ceramics and becoming more diligent and disciplined and committed to this practice. I think that it's going to be, I'm just going to learn things that I never thought I would learn through it. So if you would like to follow along, please hit subscribe, and I'll try to be posting some consistent ceramics content, as well as all of my other, you know, the reason for my YouTube channel is really an inquiry in spirit, creativity, and the earth. So I also am very excited about how all of those 3 entities are able to come out through ceramics as well. So I hope you're able to get outside soon, enjoying the end of the springtime. And yeah, go ahead and watch me finish this piece and let's see what happens.